Hi everybody, it's Marcy, and I went to Dollar Tree this weekend and I picked up this huge roll of Kraft paper. It is, I won't even be able to show you the whole thing in frame. It's 30 inches long. I don't remember how many feet or yards are on it, but there's lots of paper on here. And I wanted to get that because I want to make a few things that I know I could easily go to Hobby Lobby and or Michael's to pick up, but the Kraft paper only cost me $1 and I've got more than enough to make everything I want to make. What I do is my paper cutter will only cut will only fit 12 by 12 papers. So I cut about 12 inches off and then feed it through and square it up into more manageable size sheets. And yes, mine are still curled. They will straighten out as I start working with them, or you could put them under something like under a heavy book for a time to get them flatter. The first thing I'm going to make is some of these mini flat bags. And I'm making a few things just so you know, because I do have a project coming up that I will want some of these things for. And my beach journal is just about done. So I won't be, the next thing you'll see on that is when I do the flip through. So first let's make a couple of flat sacks. This one, where I've just got a flat top, is much easier. This one is much more fiddly, and I'm going to show you how to help yourself with that after we make one. Okay. First, the one with the flat top. I started with a 5 inch by 5 inch piece of paper. So I'm gonna, and because it's square, it doesn't matter. That one isn't 5 inches. How did I do that? That's 5. That's 4 3/4, which will still work, okay. But I'm gonna want, okay, I gotta think about this because my paper isn't quite right. So if it's 4 3/4, I'm going to make the 4 3/4 side be the length of my bag. These little mini bags will be 2 1/4 inches wide by 4 inches tall. Okay. So I am going to score 1/2 inch, and that becomes the bottom of my bag. And I'm going to flip it around just because it's easier for me to work on this side. And because mine is only 4 3/4, I'm just going to score 1/2 inch here, or I'm sorry, 1/4 inch here. And that is just to give me a guide where I'll be cutting my top. Okay. So now, on my 5 inch side, I'm going to score 1 and 1 2 3/8 from that edge. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to score 1 and 1 2 3/8 from that edge. Okay. Sorry, that really threw me when I realized the paper wasn't cut correctly. Now, and you've seen me do this a bazillion times, along my bottom score line, I'm going to cut just above the score line to the intersecting line, and then I'm going to cut in at an angle. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Cut just above my score line to the intersecting line, and then up at an angle. Now I'm not messing with my top score line yet. Like I said, that's just there for me to use as a guide in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to fold my paper in on both of the score lines. And I have 1/2 inch overlap that I can glue. Kind of threw my pen. Okay, so I'm going to put a bead of glue on this edge. And I'm going to put a bead of glue on this edge. Fold it in. Now I've got my bottom edge. Put a little glue on that. And now obviously I've got a sack. Now I'm leaving that top edge as my guide. I'm going to take, I've got some Fiskars paper edgers, mini pinking shears, just so I can get that sort of paper bag look at the top. You could use regular pinking shears, or you could leave it straight, or you could tear along it. Actually, tearing along it would probably look pretty neat. Okay. So the score line I've got on this end is just to give me a guide as to where I want to cut. That's the only purpose for that score line. So that helps me get a straighter cut. So if you don't need that, you don't need to do that scoring. Now here I'm just inking part of it real quick just so you can see the edges a little better. So very simply, you've got a 2 1/4 by 4 inch flat bag just straight across. But most of the flat bags we see have the taller back flap. So let's work with that next. And for this one, I need to be sure my paper, that's 5. And that's 5, so that's good. Okay. Again, I'm going to start with a 5 by 5. Now you're going to watch me. I'm going to show you how I did this the first time. And then I'm going to show you something that will make it much easier. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to score I'm going from 5 back to 4.5. And again, we will make that be our bottom edge. So then I'm going to turn my paper so that I'm at the 5 again, and I'm going to go to 4.5 again and score this direction. Then I'm going to go, that leaves me from 0 to 4.5, so I'm going to go to the center of that, so 2.25, and I'm going to score there. Okay, now the side with the 1/2 inch score is the front of your bag. The side without the 1/2 inch score will be the back of your bag. Okay, so to get my flap, what I did was, if I can find it, does anybody know where, there it is. I put my protractor. All right, I've got this little protractor. You could use anything round. Mine, I think, says Artist Loft on it, so this, I guess, came from Michael's. But you can get these at back to school time. Okay. And I'm warning you, this gets kind of fiddly. So I've got, my paper is 5 inches tall. I've got this score line at 1/2 inch, so that leaves me 4.5 inches above the score line. And actually, to make this easier, I'm going to actually temporarily fold my paper. But I want my back side to be showing. Okay. Now I want my bag to be 4 inches tall. So I want, for me, I need to take 1/2 inch off the top. So I'm going to take my protractor, and I'm going to be using this inner arc. So I'm going to get it up to about where the top of it is, at about the line that I want to make it 4 inches. And let's try to be sure that it's as straight as possible. Need to scoop my paper over a little bit. And yes, I'm being far more fiddly about my measuring and straightness than need be, but that's why as soon as I do this the difficult way, I'm going to show you a much easier way to do it. Okay, and I'm just going to draw that arc. Now I'm going to open this back up. There's the other part of my folder, and I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm lining it up an inch from the top. And on this side, I'm just going to draw a straight line. Okay. Told you this was fiddly. Okay, now I'm going to take my mini pinking shears, and I'm going to cut out around my arc, and I'm going to cut all the way off to the edge. So cut my arc down to my straight line. And then cut across my straight line. Okay. Now I need to come on the bottom and the side that has the arc. I'm going to take my regular scissors, and again, I'm going to cut just above the score line to the intersecting line and in. Then I'm going to come over to the other side that has my 1/2 inch, and I'm going to cut just above the score line to the intersecting line and in. Okay, now what you've got is, and I didn't cut right on my line, I'm going to get rid of my erasure marks, or my pencil marks. Okay, now for this one, what we'll do is our glue will go on this little 1/2 inch flap that we've got. Oh, sorry. I also like to cut that down just a hair shade so that way it doesn't show at the top when my bag is folded. Okay. So I'm going to glue that, and I'm going to fold over my back flap, fold it down, and my back flap is now even on the sides with the rest of it. Be sure, kind of open it up, be sure I didn't glue anything I shouldn't have glued. And now, put a little glue on the bottom flap. And there we have it. So now, we have a little mini bag with our rounded top like you can buy at any craft store. But, and this one actually went much quicker than the first one did, but still, that's pretty fiddly. I'm not going to lie. So, I thought while I had you here for my own benefit, if not for yours, I've got a 5x5 sheet of cardstock. And of course, if you make these different sizes, make them any size you want. For the project I'm going to do, I'm going to need a couple that are this size. But I've got all that craft paper, so I'm sure I will be making more and more and more. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a template of, don't need a template for the flat top ones. Those are easy. But these, I don't even know what they're, the ones that have the rounded, more like the flat bags that have the rounded top, a template would make it so much easier. So, what I need to do is, I've got to think about this. All right. I know I'm going to do this in pencil. I know I'm going to need that 1/2 inch mark at the bottom. Okay. And I will need I don't know why I'm marking it when I could just put my ruler up against my guides and mark it that way. Okay, and I need a 1/2 inch for that edge, which makes this my front and this will be my back. This one I am going to have to mark, so I'll need 2 1/4. So I'm going to mark it in 2 spots. How did I mismark that? Two and a quarter. Okay. So I took my 5-inch piece of cardstock, drew a line 1/2 inch up, drew a line 1/2 inch from the left edge, and then drew a line 2 1/4 inches from, did I say the left edge? The right edge. 1/2 inch from the right edge, 1/2 inch from the bottom, 2 1/4 inches from the left edge. All right. Now, again, I will take my protractor. Let's give, since this is going to be a template, so I'm going from where I drew the 1/2 inch line on the bottom, and I'm going up 4 inches. Again, why I didn't just use my map for that, I have no clue. Okay. And I'm going to draw this line to my center line. Remember, this is will be the back of the sack. This is where the arc will be. So now I'm going to take my protractor again. And I've got the top of my arc right at the line that I drew across. And I'm going to get it as lined up as possible. Draw my arc. Now, on this side, from the top, I want to come down 1 inch. Is that right? Yes. And again, I should have just used my mat. What is wrong with me? I think I'm not used to having a mat that's in pretty good shape that I can rely on. Okay. And I'm going to draw that out. Now, because I want this to be a template, I mean, this is exactly the same thing that we had to make this. But because I'm going to use this as a template, I'm not going to use my pinking shears or my pinking scissors. I'm just going to use my regular scissors. If I'm out of frame, I apologize. Okay, so I've got that. And for my template, I want to go ahead and cut just above my line, which would normally be a score line. And I'm going to go ahead and cut in. Now this one I'm going to have to do the other way, do this way, which is awkward for me. So I'm going to cut up to my intersecting line and over. And I know I'm going to want that little edge cut off. So now I've got everything. I've got a template. All I have to do is take a piece of paper and draw around it and cut it out. I'm going to use my regular scissors. Now I had mine lined up on 2 edges in a corner, so this edge didn't have to be cut, nor did that very bottom edge. I'm going to cut that up, cut it off. Now I'm going to grab my pinking scissors. Okay, I'm going to need to trim that just a hair shade. I knew when I did it that it wasn't quite straight, but And there you go. And so just that quickly you've got Anyway, so there you go. Just that quickly you've got one. So I'd really recommend making the template for this. And if you're going to be doing the rounded, it just makes it so much easier. Anyway, I hope this helps you. If you have trouble following the template, let me know, and I will do another video. This was the first time I'd made the template, so I will try to get a little more concise about what it is that how it is that I was doing it. And then you can get yourself a roll of Kraft paper for $1 and make yourself all sorts of Please be safe, stay healthy, happy crafting, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.